How to handle snakes. So there's lots of tools to handle snakes, including venomous snakes, but today we're going to talk about the general handling of snakes. Ain't that cool? I just love hook sticks. They're so much fun. And they can endanger the lives of many, so be safe and not stupid with them. Okay, so this is the little Cape Cobra girl over here. As you can see, she is super defensive, and if I move around and act like she's such a crazy snake and move with my hands, you can see she is stressing out, moving her body backwards, lunging forward at me, making her hood nice and big to try and say, "Hey Bryce, I'm scared of you, just go away right now." Okay, so the first thing I need to get out there, snakes do not need you to handle them. They do not need affection or you to take them out and pet them and give them love and attention. That's not how they work. They are not social animals that love to be petted, but they can and do tolerate it. A question I get asked frequently, do snakes smell fear? Well, I cannot answer that definitively because I've not seen any proof or any studies suggesting so. I do believe it is possible, and I do believe they do, because of the fact that I know for a fact dogs are able to smell the chemical changes in your body, whether that is you having an epileptic reaction. That's why we get therapy dogs and dogs that are able to warn their owners, okay, you're going to have an epileptic attack right now, and your body creates different hormones when you are fearful. So dogs can smell that. I bet snakes can too. However, I don't believe it's a huge deal with snakes because they react more so to your body movement than your smell. You can smell incredibly great and not be fearful at all, but the snake will be fearful of you because you are so much bigger than it, making it think that you are a predator trying to destroy or eat it. So that would be its flight or fight instinct. So the snake would try and get away because you are so much bigger than it, and then if it can't get away, if it's in an instance of it being stuck in a cage, it will bite because it's the flight or fight response. So it will try and fight to try and save its life. So something that's very important that I think is taken quite lightly is washing your hands before you handle your animals. You have an incredible amount of scents that you touch throughout the day and different germs as well. So just wash your hands before you touch your animal. For instance, if you touch a rat, then you go touch the snake. The snake will probably bite you, not because it is attacking you, but because it smells you as food, because rodents are a primary food source for many species of snake. Just wash your hands so no pathogens are passed onto the snake. Another trick that many keepers I know like to do is wash your hands with the same scent of soap each time. So the snake will then learn, okay, you are not a food item. This really does work. I don't have the proof currently to show you, but just trust me, it works. So just wash your hands and try to stick to the same brand or the same smelling scent of soap that you're washing your hands with. I personally use F10, which is a reptile disinfectant, and that has the same smell depending on the F10 I'm using. So I stick to the same disinfectant constantly, and the snakes are pretty clever animals, so don't mistake them for being stupid. What I would say is the biggest thing in handling snakes, any snake, whether that being a venomous or a non-venomous animal, would be reading its body language. This only can come with time and practice, just spending hours watching the snake in its enclosure or in its natural habitat. So don't be afraid to just sit still, watch and observe your animal for hours at a time, just reading its body language, and you will eventually learn something. You will learn the patterns and behavior of the animal, and you'll just get all that knowledge into your brain, whether you consciously or subconsciously know it. To be honest, I don't think nearly enough of us keepers do this and just observe the animals for hours at a time, learning their behavior and studying them. Because if we did, there would be so much more information we would gain from the different species we keep. So just do it. Take a pen, get a piece of paper, and jot down the different behaviors you're witnessing in different times of the day and different climate or months of the year. While you're handling a snake, it's very important to support their whole body and not handle them from one particular point like their tail. This kind of stresses them out and it's not natural, so don't do it. Another thing being restraining the snake. If you grab the snake and just hold onto it, the snakes will tend to stress out and act more defensively because you are restricting its movement, and that's what a predator would do. A predator would grab onto it and not let the animal escape. So don't do that. Just let it freely flow through your hands and let it glide, because it's also a pretty cool feeling to just let them cruise around. Another thing is something like this. If the snake is wrapping around your arm, no, it is not trying to eat you. That's just the snake trying to hold on because it's fearful of falling. So don't make all these sudden movements because that will scare your snake out. This is a pretty chilled and relaxed corn snake. His name is Chimanga, and he's pretty used to being handled, so he reacts quite pleasantly to anything I were to handle him. All snakes don't like you to touch their head or even grab them behind the head. They will act defensively and they'll start to stress out, so don't pin them because you think it's cool. Just let them chill out. Don't touch them on the head. They don't like it. A really important thing with handling snakes is not only just to stay calm and move slowly, but also just to remain aware of the environment you have the snake in, so it is not endangering you or the snake. So if there's food in the room, that may make the snake act in a different way because it does smell a prey item, so it may act in a more aggressive manner because it is trying to get food and it smells food and it may mistake you as food. There are so many things to keep in mind when handling snakes. Try not to make fast movements because this can make them bite you, and you don't want that to happen and you don't want to stress out the animal. Having said that, it's really easy to handle these animals, and I'm not trying to scare you out of handling them. It's just that you got to keep in mind every action has a opposite and equal reaction. So don't tap the snake on the head because a boop is cool. Don't do it. I'll show you some examples of how handling snakes in a different way affects different animals, especially with venomous snakes. You got to be so observant of how you move, how you react, and how the animal is reacting, the muscle twitches, the body movement, the surrounding of the room, the different smells, the temperature of your hand. It gets quite complicated if you're trying to do it safely. Little things like me talking with my hand, breathing on the snake, even if it's on its body, that can cause a detrimental effect to your human body because it's a venomous snake and may make it react in a different way. So you try and handle them as best as possible, avoiding a bite from these animals. Okay, so let's use this opportunity because this little girl, Octavia, has just shed, so let's take her out and show you the difference between how you act. Okay, I gotta fix this glass, but whatever. So watch this. If I start jumping around the snake and flinging it around, it's going to act all crazy and like come at me, although it's just trying to actually get away. But when I start to relax and just handle this animal with a bit of respect and stop moving around like that, the snake will actually start to calm down. Okay, so if I just relax a little bit, she'll go for anything that is gonna touch her. So that's why now if I move slowly and act calmly, I can bring her body towards me without her biting the hook. But if I move quickly like I just did, she will strike at the hook. That's why you need to act calmly, and it's especially true with venomous snakes. So they are ectothermic, so they really tire out incredibly quickly, these animals. That's why she's not trying to escape now. She's just standing her ground, watching every movement of my brother behind the camera. Then when I move, she will move and react to my reaction. As you can see here, Mrs. Thumper is looking around the enclosure in a curious manner. I should not, however, pick her up right now because she's looking in a curious food manner. You can kind of see if I move my hand around, she instantly locks onto it and thinks it's food. She starts twitching her body in a different way. Her muscle movements are quite different. If I move my hand above her, straight above her head, she starts to look up thinking, "Ooh, this is something tasty." And she would probably bite me if I were to go any closer. So let's not do that. I know it may be tempting to boop the snoot, but that is not a trend you should do because that will get you bitten. So don't go and boop the snoot. Okay, so this is the little Cape Cobra girl over here. As you can see, she is super defensive, and if I move around and act like she's such a crazy snake and move with my hands, you can see she is stressing out, moving her body backwards, lunging forward at me, making her hood nice and big to try and say, "Hey Bryce, I'm scared of you, just go away right now." As you can see, she's going at every single thing. But that being said, one thing that's amazing, snakes do not attack you. So she's doing this because she feels cornered and threatened. And if she were to rush forward at me, that would be because in her mind she wants to get to the dark hide spot just behind me. As you can see, she's slowly backing off, and then she might make a dart for it in that direction, trying to get away from me. One thing I'll prove to you is if I slowly turn around like, okay, you can see all she wants to do is get away, and then as soon as I make a movement, she will fixate back on me to stand her ground. So this shows that every action has an opposite and equal reaction. You see there, she's trying to get away, but I move, and then she'll defend herself because she thinks, "Wow, Bryce, you are really big and really scary." So she's even musking as she does that to try and deter a predator, because saying, "Hey, I smell bad, I smell like rotten curry." It's really not a pleasant smell whatsoever. She is super cute and super feisty. I love her to bits. So you gotta handle them with such care and love. If you do it nice and gently like this, she will react differently. She won't fly off the hook. "Hey girl, how are you?" I don't like it when they poop as they strike. It's almost like a double whammy. Hey, aren't you cute? Okay, so let's put her away. As you can see, every movement has a reaction from her. Now she can go back in her little enclosure and have a nice shed, because she's actually currently in the blue. So that's it for this video, just explaining a bit of snake behavior and how they react to your reactions and how to handle them. This is not a how to handle venomous snake video, so don't take it as that. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Thanks guys for watching. Bryce from Righteous Reptiles. Remember to guys, learn, explore, inspire, and live it. Cheers. So something else to keep in mind is if you touch the snake with really cold hands, because the snakes are ectothermic, that can give them a really big fright because of the instant body temperature change.